Welcome to the Training Partners Podcast, episode 27. Today we have back with us for part 2, Caine Wilkes.
What's up?
And he is joined by his friend, training partner, and boss.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Caine.
Thank you both for joining me on Taylor's podcast today. So we didn't get through everything that we wanted to talk last time, and Sean's back in town, and y'all have had some experiences together, so I thought it'd be a good idea to have you both on together to discuss those. And I think first, the Olympic experience. So you've both been to the Olympics, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Let's go, Caine, you first. Sean, yours is going to be a funny answer. For Caine, when did the Olympics shift from a dream to a real possibility?
Yeah, for me, it was around the time that I won my first national title, and actually, I think I said this last time, didn't realize I had qualified for Worlds until a few weeks later when I was invited. But I think making that Worlds and kind of realizing oh, I'm making teams now. That's when it sort of became a reality of oh, this could happen. So it was back then leading into the Rio Olympics, and then actually became that reality in Tokyo.
And Sean?
Say the question again.
When did the Olympics go from a dream to a real possibility?
I think when I bought the tickets. I think that's how.
Oh, you can do that?
You can.
Yeah, you can just buy the tickets. You don't get to put OLY after your name, and they don't let you lift. But you do get to go to the Olympics.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind. LA tickets open January 14th.
Perfect.
So just get on a list.
Mark your calendars.
Yep.
Okay, and so for you, it was 2016 was the initial hey, I'm trying to make this team.
Nope. 2013. Thank you very much.
Sorry. Okay.
That's when he won his first national title.
Oh, I apologize.
If you were his training partner, you'd know that.
I would know. This is why you're here.
Yeah.
So 2013 is when you had the idea.
So 7 years before you actually made it.
Yeah, and there were
8. 2021.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
He got you there.
He got me.
That's why he's the Olympic coach.
Yeah, that's why he's the Olympic coach, and I'm just a attendee.
Yeah, I guess prior to that, we don't really do Olympic trials for weightlifting anymore, but they were a thing, and I didn't participate in one until 2016, but I was invited to 2008 and 2012 trials. And just the travel didn't make sense because I wasn't even though I was invited, I was not I was not going to go to the Olympics.
Yeah, you knew the reality was.
Yeah, I think they took the top 15 men or women in the country, and I was probably in the bottom 5 of that group, which is there's so many people ahead of me that I'm not making it at that point. So back then, I guess there was still the possibility, but it didn't really become that sort of oh, this could actually happen until started to accomplish those things of winning titles and going out to international competitions and all.
So it sounds like the qualifying process has changed even during your career of trying to make the Olympics.
Yeah.
So
For the better.
Yeah. I think it's technically changed. I've been involved in the Rio quad, Tokyo quad, and Paris quad, and it's changed each time. It was pretty established prior to Rio. I think they made very small changes.
You're also involved in the LA quad, and it's changing again. So,
okay. TBD on that. So yeah, do you want me to explain the?
Yes, the actual question is, the next question I was going to lead into was, what do people misunderstand most about qualifying for the Olympics? But I think most of us don't know what the qualifying process is.
Yeah.
I think y'all two together.
Before you dive into it, do you ever, because it was definitely beneficial for you, for your pathway to qualification, and it does reward, especially an athlete like you who is so consistent, and we'll explain why in a second. But do you ever miss the trials? Sometimes I do.
Yeah. I wish they would, even though it's not necessary really, I think it'd be a fun thing to do as like a, almost as kind of like a little like, hey, not everyone is at this point like involved in the competition of like qualifying for the Olympics, but I think it'd be a good sort of reminder of like everyone who has participated, sort of thing.
The showcase or something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Some sort of showcase or exhibition.
I guess they've tried to do that the last 2 times where they had y'all come out, and to nationals and do a recognition. So that was great. It's hard to. What's exciting about any trials, so when you watch swimming trials or track trials, it's like, oh, like this is it, like the magnitude of this moment. We're deciding right here, right now, who's fastest, basically in those events.
That was cool back then to see
that. The downside of it was like a guy would basically not be present for like the whole quad and then just slip into the trials and like,
right.
And granted, they did lift the most weight, so like it is what it is. Whereas now it's more about, hey, were you a contributor? Were you the best in the world or not? And were you consistent a lot? Made a big difference in your specific qualification. So yeah. Anyway, I'll let you take it away. How it used to be is a country would get spots because the Olympics is about like a celebration of national competition. So there has to be some parity, even if a nation isn't very good or the lifter isn't very good. So you have to do that. So with that mindset in place, a country will qualify so many spots as a country, and they will have done that through some sort of point system in the years leading up to it. And so like usually it was the 2 world championships leading up to it where athletes from the country would earn points, and those points would determine how many spots that country gets allocated. And then we weren't very good on the men's side, so we almost never directly qualified a spot. We usually had to do like one of the loophole options to get one male to go. And then on the women's side, we did qualify spots with their performances. But yeah, that's how it went. It was kind of this, sideways way of claiming spots, and then you hold a trials to determine, okay, who are our best athletes to go and compete. And then it went away from that. Do you want to talk about what changed?
Yeah. So it went from like team and country scoring to more of a individual qualification. So the past 2 quads have been similar in that they've allocated like a maximum amount of spots you can qualify. So for Tokyo, it was a maximum of 4 men and 4 women. Paris, I think it was dropped to 3 and 3.
Yep.
But you weren't like guaranteed those 4 spots. You had to individually qualify each athlete. And for Tokyo, it was the top 8 internationally, and then they had 5 continental spots, which there are 5 like competing continents. It's not the 7 continents that we're used to.
Why not all 7?
Yeah, unfortunately, Antarctica doesn't.
Antarctica does not.
No. Would they be part of Oceania, you think? If they were to compete?
I'd let them be part of Oceania.
Yeah. Anyway.
and then they combine North and South America to the Pan Americas. So basically, outside of the top 8, one person, the top qualifier from each continent, would get a spot. And Paris was similar, except they only had 1 continental spot that was given to whoever was the top person from an unrepresented continent. So if 3 continents were represented, whoever was the top from one of the other 2 continents would get that spot. The major difference between Tokyo and Paris was that Tokyo was built, you kind of like built your total or your score I think the original number, it was changed due to COVID, but I think you had to compete in you had to show up for 6 meets, and you had to, your best 4 totals or 4 scores, because they did the Roby points back then.
Yep.
Were added together for your total score. So it did reward like consistency and things like that. Like if you went to 6 meets and you bombed out at 3 of them, you'd have to count one of those zeros as part of your score. Whereas with Paris, it was just you had to go to 5 out of 7 meets, and your highest total was your score. So it literally was just you could go to those 5 meets and bomb out at 4 of them, or just not lift at 4 of them, and then hit a world record total on your last one, and you would go to Paris. So yeah, in my case, like consistency, I'm a very consistent lifter. I think in the Tokyo quad, all of my totals were above 390, and I think most of them were over 400. I think I maybe had a 395 or something like that. And so yeah, that kind of like builds on it. Whereas someone who may have hit like a 410 or something, and then had like some lackluster meets where they're hitting like 370, 380, I would end up above them leading into that. So I ended up qualifying through the continental spot.
Yeah, it was an interesting system where it's this cumulative scoring versus just one great performance. The idea was to root out potential drug offenders.
Yeah.
So you had to be good multiple times instead of saucing on, saucing off, and being good one time.
Yeah.
And then they had it was kind of complicated, but what I didn't think it was bad. I didn't like Roby, I think. I think Roby was kind of silly. Like it. So Roby points is like, for people who are familiar with something like Sinclair Q points, but it was a way of determining how good you were in your individual category. And it was kind of based off the world records. So for the maximum score you could get is 1,000. You could exceed that if you broke the world records.
Okay.
So you'd get this Roby point score based on essentially what percentage of the world records are you lifting. And I kind of I like that because it's like the standard, you know. The problem is that like some categories might have crazier records than the other. So I don't think it was as good as comparing across categories, but it wasn't really trying to do that. It was only trying to compare you in your own class, I guess. So that didn't matter.
Like there was, I don't remember the specifics, but there was a lot of like issues with like people changing weight classes during that qualification.
Yes.
Like, your total might be one score in a weight class, but then suddenly you're at the top of your weight class in another class. And then I don't remember the specifics of it all.
Funny how much they foresaw. So the next thing I was going to say is they foresaw the importance of making, because remember there was a multiplier for worlds. Remember there was gold, silver, bronze level events. So you basically, if you went to a bronze event, it was like be the lowest level international event you could do.
Yeah.
So you would get just 1.0 times your Roby.
It would just be based off of your total.
Yeah, that's it. If you went to a silver, which was usually, I think, the continental events, maybe it was different Grand Prix. I can't quite remember. But you basically get a 5% bonus on that. So if you totaled, let's say your Roby was 400, 5%, so it's 420. Hey, did that completely on accident.
And that's because you're competing at a higher level.
Yeah, and that was meant to be like, hey, it's important for you to go to these more prestigious competitions. So Worlds was 10%. So like they wanted you to go to a gold event is what they called it, because they want the best of the best at Worlds. And the downside to the system was, in their effort to get rid of drug offenders, if you got injured at any point in that 18-month window, you were pretty much
Yeah, it was you had to compete in at least one of those in every 6 months. So you couldn't you basically had to be on point and able to like compete every 6 months, or else you wouldn't have a total to post.
At least, I mean, you had to make the appearances too, right?
Yeah.
So it's so that part was hard about it. So they went away from that to one performance only for Paris, and they went to total. They got rid of Roby. I like total because it's simple.
Yeah,
you're either the top what, 10, right? Or is it 8?
It was 10 for Paris.
It was top 10. It's probably going to 8. But you were either top 10 in the world on total or not. So I liked that. But then it took away the cumulative part.
Yeah.
So you could just kind of YOLO it, and that resulted in some like really bad weightlifting, honestly. We had people bombing out left and right.
Yeah.
You had people showing up to weigh in. Like they were in the back room, and they were just sitting there, and they would scratch at the last moment. So you have a session that's supposed to have like 12 lifters. All of a sudden there's 6.
Yeah.
So it was like bad for the sport, even though like the idea was good. Like I like that.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're just going to send the strongest, and that is what it is.
Right. Yeah. It was a lot. A lot of people a lot of people bombing out in the last couple of meets because they're just like going for it, going for broke.
Right. Nothing to lose.
Yeah. Lots of scratches, trying to be like, trying to be strategic with your, like when you show up to compete and when you don't. And then it was also like a lot of people would come like injured or something and still feel like they had to put up a total and show up just because they're like, I'm behind, or if I take it easy at this meet, so-and-so is going to like take my spot, basically, if they have a good show. So you almost had to like, you only had to do great at one meet, but a lot of people felt like if they came to only 5 meets, you had to show up every single meet or like suffer the consequences of someone possibly taking your spot.
So I think just someone who like it appears obviously there was a lot of like thought going into like, okay, we're trying to minimize people doping, we're trying to do all these other things, we're trying to fix that. But to me, like the purest, like the most fun way is thinking like the trials of like the Olympic trials when you have like the 100-meter dash is like whoever top however many the first or second place, they get to move on to the Olympics.
It's super exciting, and like honestly, that should just be what the last event is. Like it won't be in the U.S. So this time around,
cut that.
Cut that.
What can happen? So like, remember the last event was Thailand, right? The Thailand World Cup. So I think the intention of the Thailand World Cup was for it to be that, Chris, where it's like the entire world's trials, because they knew exactly what you needed to do. The bad part of that is that people were just bombing out because they were just going crazy on it. So I think that's what that event can and should be, and I feel like they'll make some positive changes to where that will happen, where like maybe consider that cumulative system. So like it's way more important to not bomb out. Yeah. Like some sort of marriage between the two without it being like you have to do however many 6 events or something. Yeah. Something a little simpler like that. And then like they'll almost certainly, because they've done it the last 2 times, have, your final qualifying event so you can turn it into that. That was terrible TV. Like the final event should be good TV. So it just won't be a US only trials.
I guess that's the difference in the sports too, with like running out, we're excluding an injury. You're still going to finish the race. Like if it's the 100-meter dash, it's just going to be really tight. Either, we're talking milliseconds apart. With weightlifting, you could have someone bomb out when they're trying to make that, 5 kilo difference or whatever it is. So in your world, both of y'all want to hear like what would be the ideal way for just focus on USA, how to qualify for Team USA as a weightlifter?
We would get rid of all other weight categories, and there would only be super heavies. And
I thought we were getting rid of the supers.
All 120 quotas will go to supers, and then America can qualify. I don't know how many people you want to go with you. Just you and Aaron. It's okay. It's okay.
If Medina wants to like,
okay, so 3.
Back up,
3. That would be the ideal one. Now, what do you think?
I was hoping you'd give a serious answer because I needed to think about it.
Okay, well, for seriousness, reverse engineer it to where there's that final event. 100%. So it creates that trials-like atmosphere. I think making it cumulative, so where it's not one total, will basically take care of like the bomb out part. Continuing to make sure there isn't the ability to game the system, like lift in a lighter category and bring that score up or something like that. So like continue to make sure. So it's still like, hey, it's your only your total in the Olympic class counts or something like that, or you're ranked. Like you could even do combined rankings. Like we know that the 58s, right? It's 58 now. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure.
If you don't remember, don't look at me.
It's 53.
Just
Is it 53, 57? Is it 53, 57, 61? Or is it 58? I think it's 58.
I feel like 58.
I think it stayed
it's
58 because they tweaked the other ones. Anyway, so that's not an Olympic class, right? The 58 isn't, but 61 is. So you can still like just take the best 58 in the world who will probably have like a top 10 total and throw them in the rankings. So you could still do something like that. I think that's perfectly fine. But making sure that you don't have a Roby score system where you could take a really competitive result and carry like that Roby scoring in that category and say, oh, I'm this good of a lifter as a 2 classes up kind of lifter, which was done. I'm not complaining that athletes did that or anything, but like I think it's inappropriate. Doesn't get you the best lifters in the world in each category. So yeah, something slightly cumulative, like maybe like 2 or 3 totals that have to be, but totals, not Robies that have to be stacked over some period. I would offer a lot of flexibility on when they're, because like the previous ones, they were kind of built into 6-month periods, right? I personally, I would almost throw that out. I don't really care when you do them. If you do them in short succession, like that's fine.
Yeah.
You'd still have to, you'd have to be good in a short amount of time, and then you'd be available for doping, and that's fine. I don't think it really matters as much. I know they were trying to like make sure these people were available for testing at every period, but it's like they just gotta. That's like a whole separate political thing. So I'm not going to acknowledge that as part of our objective process. Like being able to get into a country to test people.
Yeah.
I think if you can't go to a country without notice to test people, that country shouldn't be involved in sport. Like just bar none, like no problem. Like everywhere you have to apply for like a visa or anything, but it shouldn't be like declared like what you're there for. It's just like, oh, hey, I'm here for business, and like that's it. You don't say who you're there for. Even if you had to say, hey, I'm here, I'm WADA. You don't say where you're going or what you're going to do, and like that's it. Like so, it could be any athlete in that country in any sport, right?
Yeah.
Theoretically, then they'd have to hide everyone, which I guess North Korea could pull that off. But yeah, that's my long ramble. I like a little bit of cumulative. I don't really care about the time. I want a big final event where people actually have to lift. Oh, and no weigh-ins only. Also.
Oh, okay.
I know that kind of sucks. Like our friend, did you see Chris Murray? At this past Worlds in Norway at all?
No, I didn't.
So it's required that you must attempt. So you can't just weigh in and like scratch. It's required that you must attempt. Like those are written in the rules now. And so the Worlds were designated as a qualifier for the Commonwealth Games. So he had to go and attempt like 30 kilo snatch or something. He had just had surgery.
Yeah.
Which does suck for an injured athlete like that. Like that that was that felt kind of silly. But also, if you are that injured, maybe don't live. I don't know. It's his only choice, right? It's his only option in their qualification pathway. So I think he did what he had to do. But otherwise, I just say, don't either do that and it's silly, or don't lift. I think you should have to. I don't want the scratches like there used to be.
Yeah.
So they have to attempt one lift, and then they can scratch after that. So.
Okay. Yeah. I like that too. Like I lean more towards a cumulative score.
Do you get bonus points for being 26 years
in the sport?
Yeah.
I hope so. I need
we'll write
it
that
at this
in.
point.
We'll write that in. Yeah.
The
but
Caine clause.
And I like the idea of having like a big meet, and you could, because we didn't do this for Tokyo. Tokyo, you had to do like at least one gold event and then at least one silver or gold event. So you had to do basically 2 meets that weren't bronze out of like the 4 or 6 that you had to do. For Paris, 2 of the meets were absolutely mandatory. You had to show up for.
Yeah.
That was the 2023 Worlds and the World Cup. And you could do something like that where you have 1 or 2 of them be mandatory and make the last one that you want to be that trials to be your mandatory one.
That probably makes sense as long as you don't. Because they were weighted, right, favorably for Rio. No, for Tokyo. They were
Yeah.
weighted, like the 10%. So you could make mandatory appearances for like 2 meets.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
totally fine. They should be the worlds. That's where you want the best people. But don't say like, hey, these performances are more important, or so. I don't know, like because injuries do happen. That sucks. Like Sohrab Maradi was the best 94 lifter in the world, and he had to have shoulder surgery during that quad, and so he basically lost out on the Olympics. He was the world record holder, like everything. And I won't get into whether I think that system dopes or not, but like it's weird that the best weightlifter in the world in their category, who was ready by the time the Olympics came around, wasn't eligible because they faced an injury. Like, that doesn't make sense. So just have him like mandatory go do the silly thing, get his drug test, and then like, stack his totals when he can do them at whatever qualifying events.
Yeah, I think you could like learn from all the other ways that have been done, like doing the bonus points for that final event to like, okay, this counts as for an extra 5% to encourage people to do it and make it a little more important.
And we're always leaving something else at risk.
For sure.
Right? Like there's a way people are going to game it no matter what.
Yeah.
But I like absolute lifting. I like an absolute ranking, on total, no like theoretical models.
Yeah.
Protecting athletes.
I feel like there's so much feeling in sports because you can watch a 30 for 30 and get in your feels and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's still like sports. It's like either you did the thing or you didn't do the thing. Like there's only going to be one winner. So part of me is like, you got to take all emotion out of it. And here's the big event. Did you perform or did you not?
Yeah.
That's easy for me to say because I'll never.
No, you need to find like even why is there a 7-game series?
Who won game 1 this year in baseball?
Game 1 in baseball?
Yeah, the World Series. Who won game 1?
Pretty sure the Blue Jays.
So are you really world champ?
I mean, based on the rules,
yeah,
we're the 2-time defending world champions of the world, of the entire world. Beat a Canadian team. That makes it of the entire world. Go Dodgers. USA. But like that's the 7 game. Like, if you're the best, why didn't you win in that game?
That's true. Why didn't you?
I'm just saying. Why did they just win that game? Like, are you the best or not?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's that football mentality, and maybe that's what's exciting about like college football playoff is like you could win any given Thursday.
Any given day that's not Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Well, for those that don't know, you did go to the Olympics, Caine, but yours was a unique experience because it was the 2021 Olympics in Tokyo. So kind of give us a feel like what it was going through a competition at that level, how it differs from, competing at one tier down at Queen City Classic.
Yeah, it was definitely like a different experience than we were planning for. I think like the first thing is like it was postponed almost a year. I think it was 364 days that it was postponed. And that's like, I'm pretty sure that's unprecedented. I don't think an Olympics has ever been canceled or postponed historically. Like even, there have been like 2 world wars and the Olympics still went on. So it was really wild. And I think it was almost like I was like peaking basically when we got the news. So it was very strange because it was basically like, okay, stay there.
We don't know when.
But come back a year later and still be in that same like condition and stuff. And it was just like. Was
there any like everyone that's qualified that this is who's going, nothing's changing? Was there anything there?
They, like I said, they adjusted the rules, the qualification procedure a little bit. I think they dropped the total number you had to qualify with down to 5 total instead of going to 6. They dropped down to 5. I think it was still 4 meets you needed. So I went to the Pan American Championships, which happened like a few months prior to the
Yes, the 2020 Pan American Championships.
In 2021, I went to the 2020 Pan Am Championships that had also been postponed.
In Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic.
Yep.
Did they do a 2021?
They did.
They did.
How-
That was
what?
like
6 weeks later?
It was like later. It was after the
November or
Olympics, I think.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was late in the year.
Those were in Guayaquil, Ecuador.
Mm-hmm.
I went there.
Yes. And Kaiser went there. Did he win? I think he won.
Kaiser won.
Yeah.
He did. He had a great meet. I
did.
actually got to run Kaiser's count
I
at
think
that meet. Yeah.
Was it like a 402 or something? I don't know.
I don't. It
was a
was.
little
He cracked.
before.
He cracked 400. It was a big deal.
I think it was his first, probably his first international meet that he
Yeah, and it was a bat. He had to do it. He was in a battle with the lifter from Mexico, and it was it was hard. Anyway, so the 2020
Pan American Championships. So technically, it still was a little up in the air, but because it was cumulative at that point, I knew kind of like where I was sitting, and I was sitting very pretty in the continental spot. I think my biggest danger would have been Kaiser, but he ended up not going to the Pan Am Championships. I think if he'd have gone, he would have, just for the cumulative scoring and stuff, he would have needed like a pretty big total.
Oh, it would have been like 440 plus or something.
Yeah,
it would have been something crazy,
ridiculous, like well over his best at the time. So I think a lot of people kind of knew where they were at. There were a couple of like unknowns and some like things that could shift, but as far as I was concerned, it was just I had to show up to the Pan Ams and lift. So yeah, like I think the announcement came out that May that I had made the team, and that's when it kind of like, I think I've been in the sport long enough that like things unexpected things can happen. So like you just don't want to get your hopes up or anything. And I think it was that day, like when it was announced, and like I'm seeing it on social media, people are congratulating me and things, like that's when it became real. And I was like, ooh, okay. I think, was it that day, like you bought some desserts and a little bit of maybe a champagne or something?
Yeah.
And we celebrated a little bit.
Yeah.
Just cool. I think it was macarons.
Yeah, we brought some macaroon. Yeah, macaroons and champagne. And just had a little treats.
Little treat.
That's great.
After training, but it was. With all that said, like it's great that I made it. I always think like the Rio quad was kind of like in 2015 I was the number one lifter. 2016 we had to qualify through Pan Am Championships, and I missed the total that I needed for that. So it was kind of like that was the time I could have and should have, and I didn't hit the total. So like to me, making the Tokyo Games was like, I was able to hit that goal and everything. So I made the Olympic team like I thought I should. But it was the COVID games. So it was very different than I think most Olympic experiences. With that said, like I still got to hang around the village while I was there.
You were the year of the cardboard beds, right? Was that you?
Yeah, I think they did that for Paris too. They did the same thing. But yeah, it was the first year of the cardboard beds, and it was. I think I was there. We were only supposed to be there. I think 5 or 6 days. I think the rules said you had to be in 5 days before you competed, and you basically had to leave within 24 hours of competing when you were done. And for us, since we only lift on, 1 day, it's not like we have multiple days of like qualifications or anything. Right. We were supposed to be there basically 5 or 6 days. And I think due to like travel reasons and stuff, like flights and all, I was there for 8 days. And I say that just to say, at the end of the games, I looked at my bed and I was like, I I don't think I would have lasted another day.
Cardboard was breaking down a little.
Yeah. There were some definite like wrinkles and yeah.
Dude, I always think like those, or even in Thailand, the bed was like Thailand in 2019. Mm-hmm. It was basically just like a pad, like something you get in kindergarten when it's nap time. It's just like a, you know, 1.5 inch, 2 inch like foam pad or whatever that basically was on a bed frame. And I always think, because I remember I saw Lasha was on my floor at that one, and I'm like, he sleeps on this? Like, he sleeps on this? Like, there's no way Lasha's sleeping in the cardboard bed, right?
Yeah.
Like, they did something. And also, no other country followed those rules. Like, it was just us. Only America followed rules. Basically, maybe some other countries did, but like in weightlifting, like Georgia was there for like a month training. Mm-hmm. Like, they were not doing any of the protocols, like doing everything. So just us.
Yeah, just us. And yeah, so it was like, it was weird. I had to spit in a little tube every morning to like get tested.
Oh, for COVID. I was like, what?
Yeah. And you know, I was allowed to watch other weightlifting events, and I sat down and watched a couple of them. I particularly remember Harrison Morris's session, which was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I could watch weightlifting, but I couldn't go to other events because they didn't want to like cross-contaminate or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And I roamed the Olympic Village, but I was not allowed to venture outside of Tokyo. Our personal coaches, so my dad was at a hotel nearby, which I did go out and visited him for lunch one day. But yeah, it was a weird experience just because it was not the same. Like, we had plans to, you know, bring my mom and my wife Emily out, and we were going to like, I think the original schedule, I was going to compete like 5 days before the closing ceremonies. So we were going to take those like 5 days to kind of like explore Japan and Tokyo some. And that obviously didn't get to happen. We did get to spend some time in Hawaii for training. We did like a 2-week camp leading up to the Olympics. And basically we would fly out of Hawaii, out of Honolulu, and fly back when we were done. And then afterwards we had our own little like celebratory party and everything. So it was a unique experience. I'm not upset about it. Like, I think a lot of people, I think we've had this conversation of like, you didn't get your Olympic experience. And I didn't get the typical Olympic experience, but I got the Olympic experience. Mm-hmm. Like, I still remember like it was the image of like just stepping out on the platform and seeing like the Tokyo Games, the Olympic rings on the platform, and like I think behind me and stuff. Like, it was just like, you know, this is real. This is happening. And the funny thing is, like, my dad, who, you know him, not the most like emotional guy. He was tearing up before the session started.
Pussy.
It's okay. I don't think he listens. Well, he might listen to this one, I guess, but sorry, Dad.
I'm not sorry.
But the funny thing is, like, yeah, he was getting emotional at the start of it and getting a little choked up. And I'm just like, I can feel how like emotional I am. So I'm just like trying to hold it in.
You both just crying up there.
So like at the end, like I went out for, I think, a 224 clean and jerk and just clarked it. But turned around and like almost immediately started to cry because like it was all done. So like all the emotions could flow out. So it was just kind of funny because at that point my dad was over the emotional part. So like he was crying at the beginning and I was crying at the end. But it was just like, yeah, it's maybe it's not the ideal Olympic experience, but just the fact that I got there and was able to compete and like got to, experience all that, in my opinion, is more than enough. I'll even say this, like for the Paris Games, because I was probably not as close as I was to like the Rio Games, but I was still definitely in the running for Paris. So like, I watched some of the opening ceremony and I got a little bummed. Like, I was like, man, I didn't get to do this.
The boat and everything.
And then, but then I saw everyone, like Team USA on the boat, and there's like 1,000 people on the boat. And I'm like, actually, I think I would hate this. I would hate to be crammed on a boat with like 600 other people.
For like hours.
So maybe.
Like hours.
Yeah. So maybe this was actually a blessing in disguise.
How did you feel though, like when you were watching the weightlifting meets at Paris, and after every American they would just show Sean and Taylor in the crowd?
They definitely had their favorites.
I think it was just Olivia's. I think we.
I watched. I'm pretty sure I watched all the U.S. lifters, but I remember in particular with Olivia's session, I was like, they're cutting to Sean and Taylor a lot.
Yeah, we had tickets in basically the same spot every other session, and then for that one, for whatever reason, I don't think we bought like a different price ticket or anything. But fortunately, it was actually next to Terry Gatone and the kids. Like, just happened, like just completely coincidentally. Like they bought their tickets separate. Like I think they got it. Like Mike, however, got them, and we literally bought them the way that people buy tickets to the Olympics, and they just happened to be next to them. So you have us, and then the Gatones like holding up signs and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it was great seats. But
that was cool. Okay, then block out any COVID answer to this question. Looking back at the Olympics as the experience, what stands out the most to you?
I think a lot of it was the like actual competition, like the event, going out there and competing. Like I said, I remember seeing the rings and just being like, wow. Because I think it was 2019, we did a camp in Tokyo before heading out to Worlds in Thailand, and we took a little like sneak peek tour of the venue. And at that point, like that was 2019, so at that point it was supposed to be a year out, but it was 2 years out. But they don't have anything like constructed for it or anything, so it's just a big stage. And then like fast forward 2 years later, and like it's suddenly this huge stage for weightlifting and everything. Like that was big. And I think probably the biggest thing was just like being able to share that. I know you said block out COVID stuff, but despite COVID, like I was able to share that moment with my dad, who like we had been on this ride for over 20 years at that point. So it felt like a very like a culmination of everything. And to be able to share that with him, like it was only a couple hours obviously, but sharing that with him like meant everything, especially in the chaos of COVID.
Yeah, like the world's like shut down, all this crazy stuff going on, and then you and your dad get to celebrate.
We're still able to get that. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Get that moment.
Last thing on the Olympics, if you have an answer for this, how did that experience change you, like as an athlete or as a person, if it did change you?
I think the biggest thing is probably leading up to it. I think I had to learn to be okay. This is going to sound weird, but like I had to be okay with failure. And that was the big like realization I think I had leading into it and at the Olympics. Not like, obviously you set goals to hit them, but goals should be challenging, and they should, like, you may not hit them all the time. And I think sometimes our nerves or anxiety can come from that like fear of failure, you know? And I had a lot of moments where I had to tell myself like that I'll still be okay with myself, even if I don't hit this grand goal that I've had like for the past 20 years. And I think going out there on the platform, it was a lot of that same sort of thing, like a lot of nerves, a lot of emotion for more than just one reason, but a lot of it was like, this is your one moment to go out there and shine and you want to perform. And I'll say like, it wasn't my best performance at like, I totaled 390, which I had been hitting 400 plus totals in the years leading up to it. So it wasn't like my best total. I think it was 3 for 6, but it was like, it was a day like that I can't like replicate,
right?
You know? So I think when you take away that like worry about what if I don't do, you know, the what ifs of like, what if I don't do this? What if I don't hit this? What if I don't make this team or that team? If you stop worrying about that and just focus on the process, I think it helps, like, at least me mentally a lot more. So I've felt like after the Olympics, I've felt a lot more at ease on like pressure situations. The Paris quad was very, like I said, very with people feeling like they had to be there and on point every meet. A lot of athletes like Team USA, but other athletes were feeling like the pressure and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I kind of was like, I was told by a couple people that I felt I seemed very zen throughout it, which I wasn't necessarily trying to be zen, but it was just very much of a like, you know, I'm going to try and I'm going to like put forth the effort, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, sort of thing.
That's how you become a near 3-time Olympian.
That's how you do it.
I mean, y'all been to the Olympics the same amount of time, so.
Yeah, but I'm not a near.
That's true. You're just a true
3-time Olympic attendee. Well, I mean, I did try to go to. Actually, that's not true. I tried to go to Tokyo, but specifically for you, and then I tried to go to. So I'm a near 3-time attendee of the Olympics.
Well, you gave a cool moment for those back home too, because we had a watch party here. What was it? 2 a.m.
Yeah, like 2 a.m.
Whatever it was. It was fun to like have everybody in the gym watching. That was a cool experience. Like you're on the other side of the world. It's like our friend is competing in the Olympics. That was really cool. So cool. Thank you for that. Let's go into like training, mindset, and longevity. Sean, I know you have a lot to share on this because you're a high performance coach. So let's go about like in this sport when it comes to longevity and the demand of it. How do you navigate sticking with something this mundane and challenging for 20 years?
How do I keep up with it?
Yeah, because I mean, how many opportunities did you have to say that that's enough? You know,
I'm at a point in my career where I daily.
What day are we on?
What day? I don't know. I've lost count. There have been days.
You've stringed them together.
String them together.
We're not on day 1.6, are we?
No.
Okay, sweet.
Like
we're on like day 8, day 9.
We can, yeah.
Maybe day 10.
Let's not go to
okay.
double digits.
All right,
But yeah, I think for you to like be invested in something for as long as I have, whether it's a sport or a hobby or career or what have you, you have to find like the reason why you keep up with it. And that can change from time to time. I think I used to like the challenge. I still do. But I think how I define what the challenge is different now. Like it used to be adding like the challenge of adding a kilo to your total. Now it's the challenge of like making teams or hitting numbers and kind of like still pushing people that I should not be pushing.
Yeah.
I think I just lost my train of thought. Dang it, Sean, talk a little bit.
Yeah, so Sean, for you as a coach who's seen a lot of people come and go in the sport, for those that have stuck around for probably not as long as Caine, but what have you seen within them that is like, oh, I see this consistently through those people?
This is a very canned answer that you'd get out of like a textbook, but I think that it's true. And if you ever actually get your CSCS, you'll know the answer.
You're still studying for that?
Yeah.
Cut that.
He's on it. But like, because like it's literally in the sports psych chapter, but you know, I'm sure people have heard of intrinsic versus extrinsic motivators. And so if you're intrinsically motivated, that is the love of the game. Like ultimately the reason that Kobe Bean Bryant was the greatest basketball player of all time was because of his love of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, Caine?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Correct, Caine?
Correct.
Yeah. Just wanted to see what his face would do. But they talk about it a lot with somebody like that. Like they kept going because they just loved it. They were a psychopathic competitor in the way that only someone like Kobe or Michael or Mike Tyson were. Like they really were competitive. They really liked beating people, but they also just love the hell out of basketball, like or boxing in Mike's case. So I think if you don't love it, I interviewed Piros once. We did a training camp. And I went on this exact point. Like I asked him some questions beforehand, and I was like, "Hey, I want to ask you these same questions in front of our youth and juniors." And essentially, that is what it came down to. Is like, Piros didn't always have. I mean, he's, the GOAT. So it's like it's hard to say, oh, he wasn't just gonna be good, right? Because like there's stories you hear about Piros, and you're like, Jesus, like yeah, you are a once in a generation kind of athlete, but he also faced a lot of challenges, some personally afflicted due to like Piros had moments where, I don't want to call him a lazy athlete, but we'll say like maybe an undisciplined athlete in as far as like weight management or something like that. So he'd get himself in a little bit of trouble and have to cut weight and just stories like that. But he had a lot of moments where, when he won his first Olympics, he wasn't supposed to win, actually. Like, he came and he won on body weight. But so it was tied total. But I asked him, how'd you get through all these moments when you were cutting weight, when you were not the person who was supposed to be the best, when we were in all these battles, or even when he comes back for the final Olympics of his career, he was already basically done. And like, he hadn't formally retired, but he was like, I'm not going to compete anymore. Like, he had made that decision and then decides to come back. And he was like, the answer was love. Like, I love this. I love this thing. And so I think people get into something where they'll be enamored with the extrinsic factors that they get, so like it's really fun being the GOAT or the Olympian or the champion. And it's really motivating to set world records or get really the recognition that you get from that. So if you're obsessed with the feeling of, recognition or chasing clout or adoration, these are all external, extrinsic factors. Whereas if you just actually love whatever it is, so in this case, weightlifting, that in itself will get you through the moments where you aren't winning and doing everything else. And I know that's like a cheesy, corny Hallmark answer, but the greatest weightlifter of all time basically told me that. So I think
you're
it's
gonna
kind
go
of
with
true.
it.
Yeah, I think that's. I do talk about that a lot, like the finding the internal motivation or intrinsic motivation, especially like for me. For a long time, I was the top super heavy, and I didn't really have anyone pushing me. So I had to find like motivation within myself to like push my numbers beyond something, because just for like a couple of years I wasn't finding it outside. But the other thing I wanted to say that I lost my track on.
Oh, you found it. Let's go.
Yeah. The now I'm losing it again.
Damn it.
No, it's me and my brothers, when we started lifting, were always the type of people that we would go to a meet, and a lot of coaches would ask us like, oh, what are y'all doing now? Like, they're like worried about what we're going to hit. You got to look out for them because they always come and they always are improving or always hit big numbers sort of thing. And that was even before like I was winning and making like teams and stuff. And that like even now, as I'm like towards the end of my career and there's at least one super heavy that is outlifting me, I still like to go to that competition and be the guy you have to worry about. So like, again, I think that lends itself to like love of the game. Just cause like, it's what I enjoy doing. I said this last time. Like, I'm a show pony on the platform. I just love that. Like the thrill of like lifting and showing people like, look what I can do.
I still love hearing you say that though, because like that's not your personality. It doesn't come off as your personality. So to hear you say,
it's it's not. It really only comes out.
We're competitive in such different ways, but you just said the same thing that I like the same exact thing.
I think I said this on the last episode. Like I think we have a lot of the same thought of like when you walk into a room, like into the warm-ups.
Yeah,
I'm owning this place.
100%. I walked into 202015 Nationals
but we just
thinking that.
Yeah, we just expressed that
knowing you were going to beat my ass. Like, not even close. But I still believe that. I legitimately remember thinking, like, Caine better watch out. Like, you know,
so delusional.
like if he up, like, it's over. That's how good I am today. You know, it's completely delusional. But and I like the competitiveness of, like, I do the thing where I, like, choose a guy. And like that's who I'm gonna beat that day, and it's very motivating because it's just in the moment and task oriented. And then after that, I just completely discard that person. Like I don't feel that way about them at any other moment. But you said the same thing. Like being a person you have to worry about, showing what you're capable of, and things like that. I still like those things, and those might even be. Are those extrinsic factors? I don't know. I don't know what that is because it's a feeling. It's not a winningness thing. It's a feeling of showing your best. It's like, hey, I'm here and this is what I can do. And if you're not careful, like it's going to be a problem for you, you know, sort of thing. So I don't know what that is, but I feel that as well. You do it in a much funner, joyful way. And I do it in a more, I'm going to kill you and all your friends kind of way. So
I need to send you the picture. We talked about it on the last episode, Harley. See if you can put it right here. It's a picture of Sean and Caine, and it's at States from 2 or 3 years ago. And Caine, I think Caine's in the background. Sean's in the foreground. Sean's just like mean mugging through the camera. And Caine's just like in the background. Like just it's either vice versa, but it's hilarious. My favorite picture, y'all too. When it comes to training and like what's been working for so long, have there been any methods or patterns that you've seen that like, hey, we don't change like through these 20 years outside the obvious of like, hey, we're going to squat, we're going to pull? Is there anything that else is stuck?
Like my dad focuses a lot on like singles and we would do
keep going, sorry.
With the exception of like for a long period of time, we would do like snatch and clean and jerk deconstruction is what he called it. Basically we'd break down the lifts all in one day, but then at the end put it all together and do the actual lifts around, nothing crazy. Like I think it was just a few at like 80% or something like that. Most of the time. And that continued in my training. Technically, like I've been doing a lot of the master's program, so that's a little different right now. But I always feel most comfortable because we do a lot of like full lifts from the floor. I always feel most comfortable with like from the floor lifts. Sean had me try to do, is this what you're talking about? Block cleans?
No, I wouldn't call them block cleans.
I
would call them 2/3 cleans.
Yes, this is true.
In the Wilkes system, there are no blocks, there are no hangs. There are only very amounts of the full lift. So I call block cleans, I translate it to Wilkesism as 2/3 cleans, or a hang because you got to pick it up and then lower it. That's a 1 1/4 clean. Yeah, just so they don't get confused. Because if you tell them block, they may not know what to do with it. So
all that to say,
and legitimately, Caine that day didn't know what to do with the blocks.
Yeah, 2/3 cleans are tough. No, like
Is that what threw off your cleans? Is that what triggered it?
No. This was like, I think this was last year, leading into nationals, which I ended up not doing because of my wrist. But you were trying to give my back a break.
Yeah.
So you had programmed block cleans and just light ones. And like, I haven't done them. Like, I don't know if I've ever really done block cleans more than like once, just to like goof around sort of thing. And so like, I think we had 150 on the bar, and that wasn't supposed to be my top weight, but I just like started to overthink it so much. Like I just could not understand it. So I think Sean just had me like go to the floor.
Yeah, just probably go. Like the idea was reduce the load on his back, reduce the range of motion, so he could, because we were going to deadlift really heavy. Because one of the things when Caine's pull is strong, his lifts go really, really well. It's like, and it's how he does the lifts. But the problem is that the weights Caine has to pull are very taxing, and then Caine has a history of back injury too, so you have to be very sensitive to like how you accomplish this. So I was like, oh, we'll just do blocks to like make sure that he's okay, and he was not okay. So, and that turns out after like 20, I think it's like 25 years now, right?
26.
Jesus. Of when you've been doing it that long and you don't have the, like, you really are set in your ways, like, honestly. So you just need to figure out the strategies that have been successful and reutilize them instead of trying to reteach. Like, as much, you probably do more variation now on the master's program than you've ever done. Like, we were doing yo-yos, right?
Yeah.
And like, that was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
The yo-yo cleans before I left.
Oh my goodness.
That day was fun. And so you also are the world record holder in the yo-yo snatch, as far as I know. So,
what is it? What is the number?
160.
Don't let people know out there.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah.
No.
190.
Because in the actual world
I
record
just legit haven't seen someone do a yo-yo snatch with more than what Caine did, so I don't know. But.
Yeah. I just don't know. I don't know like how popular that is in like international.
That doesn't matter. That's
stuff.
okay. It's
Well, I think that works in my favor. I will gladly take the title until Clocon.
You're gonna see Tarakti on the Instagram tomorrow. After this episode.
Sean, is there anything you want to add that like through your coaching career that you've seen that is super consistent and like a staple in your program?
In my program?
Yeah.
Oh. I worked with a lot of great coaches. So I've gotten to take a lot. Like foundationally, me and my boss, we always talk about you really do go back to your first stages of learning and everything, and your first experiences. And those mold you so much. And maybe it's because I had a pretty great mentor in that regard, I guess, to start with, that it's easy to fall back on them. So I remember a lot of Glenn's thing is like foundational my beliefs. And it turns out a lot of those things are actually still really important. Some of those things are silly and you can pick and choose, a little bit. But I've learned a lot from the way Caine's dad has done things, the way Don did things, the way Zygmunt Smalters did and probably still does things. And now the way Mike Catone does things as well. And they have a lot of things. One thing Caine said, as obvious as it might be, is to do the lifts from the floor often and to make sure that you do that. That's it. Like they're never out of the system ever for more than a few days, the lifts from the floor.
So even during our off-season program on Saturdays, you still have us doing.
There's always, I just call it a competition day is what I refer to it as. Like you need to always be It would be like never playing football. That's the only way that I always say. Like even when you're not in season for football, you have a once a week simulation of the game, whether it's a scrimmage or just an extended practice. But you're playing football. You're not doing drills. You're not doing tackling. You're not doing coverage drills. You're doing football. You're playing football. You're running plays, right? And so it's the same for us. You have to do weightlifting, and weightlifting is snatch and clean and jerk. from the floor at intensities that matter and carry over. So like in the off season, yeah, we'll put less of a premium on intensity, but like you really should at any drop of a hat be able to uncork 90%. So much so that you could literally not train at all, get called up as the alternate onto a world team, and then drive to the gym within hours of the deadline to demonstrate 90% readiness.
Yeah.
And do it, right, Caine?
Yeah, I feel like everyone should be able to do that, right?
But it should be such an ingrained part. Like, honestly, any day, 90%, just one 90% snatch and clean and jerk, as long as you haven't not been training at all, should never. People, like, I think sometimes have, when you don't get exposure to it, this is the problem. You get fear of it. It's like, oh, I haven't touched this in a while. But, like, you shouldn't have that fear. You shouldn't have the trepidation. It is being cold enough and focused enough to be like, yes, this is just what I do. And that, because like if you've been training, you're prepared for it. You didn't get weaker. You didn't suddenly, you telling me you've been squatting and pulling and doing lighter lifts variation this whole time and you're now less prepared to do 90%. That's bullshit. That's not how that works at all. It's only your mind that's holding you back, that puts the limiter on it to make it that special thing that's scary. And it's not.
All right, last question on training and such. Is there anything that you stopped doing that made a big difference, and tie that into like, do you wish you changed something or would have changed during your training?
I think like probably the biggest shift in training more recently has just been like leading up to Tokyo, and prior to that I was training 6 days a week. And now I'm at a point where I'm training 4 days a week. I think part of that was because I was planning on being less competitive. That was wrong. But it was also like I'm getting older, so like need a little more time to recover. Like Sean said, the weights that I lift and stuff like are a little taxing. So like part of that is like prioritizing a little bit more recovery and things like that. So I think that's been beneficial, just like as far as both recovery and just like prioritizing a little bit of life outside of weightlifting too. Is there something
like, do you wish you would have changed something, or would you have changed something about your process? Well, obviously, like, oh, I didn't get injured. Like, that's an obvious, but
yeah.
Is anything you might have done different, I think is what he's asking.
I think I like probably has less to do with training, but I think I would have like, if I could go back, I probably would have put a little more effort into the mental side of the sport before I was like face to face with it, like having bad training days and competitions, to the point where like my dad had to point it out, like you're not as confident as you used to be, and you need to work on that. I think, if I could go back, I would have probably put a little more effort into that, instead of when someone says something about the mentality or like visualization, me just being like, I don't need that. I'm 17 and I know everything. That's probably it.
Okay. We're going to go the sport of weightlifting. So kind of like a big picture overall look into the sport. What have you seen, how have you seen the sport change over the years? Just kind of like from day one of you doing an Olympic weightlifting meet to what you see now.
I mean, it is very different. And I don't know if I can list all the ways. I think like, obviously the sport has grown in the last like 26 years. Part of that is due to like CrossFit's growth. And also like local meets are way different just on the local level from what they were 20-ish years ago, where they used to be, I don't know, you'd have like 50 or 60 people if you're lucky.
Yeah, that'd be a big one.
Yeah.
That'd be a huge one. Yeah.
To where now, like, it's easy to have like over 100 people. We usually cap the Queen City at
we cap it at 120
Yeah.
because that's the most we can do in one day with two platforms. I guess if we wanted to be here way longer, we could do more, but we're not doing that. But yeah. And we're fortunate that people have done every year since Queen City, we've met our cap. So that's cool. Not a single year have 120 actually competed. I hope one day that happens, but we always get at least 10 drops. But anyway.
Yeah, zero chance that ever happens.
That'll never happen. I guess I got to sell 130 and hope that happens. But anyway.
So yeah, like the growth in the sport has been tremendous at the local, national level.
1,400 lifters in Daytona.
Yeah.
Over. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
It's wild.
I think I said this last time, the 2013 Nationals that I won, that was in a skating rink. And I think there were maybe like 200 lifters there. And that's like, I don't think we get anywhere close to like as low as 200.
No,
for
God, no.
It's like it's
A bad,
easily several hundred. Sort
yeah,
of thing.
poorly attended one would be like 600
Yeah.
basically nowadays. I remember the finals right before that Nationals. Or no, the finals right after that Nationals, sorry. The ice the ice bowl.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that.
The one that you weren't able to fly into, basically. There were over 500
Yeah.
for that. Sorry, it wasn't finals. It was the American Open at that one. And that would, like, at the time, everybody was like, holy crap, like how we have 500 people. And it was a 2-platform meet. I think maybe the first one ever for a national event anyway. If not, very, very novel. We actually had 3 platforms on the first day just to get it done. And then they took away the third one and expanded the warm-up area, basically. But, yeah.
Yeah. So the growth of the sport, I'd say the depth of athletes, particularly on the women's side, has grown a lot. Whereas, like, I think there was a point where like 100-kilo clean and jerk was a massive feat, and now it's like 100-kilo snatch is the like big thing.
It's not even that good.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's good for some weight classes.
Right.
So it's wild to see that depth. And even like, I'll say when I was first getting into lifting, like I remember at local meets, our local like big time Olympic lifter would close out his session with like a 140 snatch and a 170 clean and jerk.
Oh yeah, those are.
And it's like nowadays that's fairly commonplace on the men's side. Like, and
like Gus barely trains and does that basically.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Sorry,
so-
Gus.
Right.
I think he trains 4 days a week.
Yeah, he
so-
trains early.
Yeah,
I
he
think
trains.
they got back from Florida. They haven't been in this week. I got a feeling they're sick, but
Everybody's getting sick.
I know it's that time of year.
So yeah, like there's definitely been like an improvement on the weights the men are lifting, especially I think more recently, and so like that's been a huge change. And then I also think like the structure of USAW is a lot different. Not to promote them too much, but like I think the things that USA Weightlifting are doing with like Mike and Sean and everyone, and even with Piros and all, like it's done a lot for, I think, bettering like the organization, but also I think bettering the athletes. I think they're doing a lot more for the athletes that are making like a difference on the international stage. And that wasn't always the case. The funding's a lot higher. I was going to say a little, but it's a lot higher. The first time I got on stipend, I was making $480 a month,
Livable.
I think, and I was number 4 in the nation. So like,
Wow. Yeah,
it quickly changed to a more substantial number, but like, there's just a lot of opportunities for athletes. even through, I mean, that's something that's changed, like the sponsorships and social media, like opportunities that we have, like that wasn't there 15, 20 years ago. Yeah. So there's just been a lot.
That was actually my next question. What do you think U.S. does well in weightlifting? So that was your perspective, Sean, as someone who works for USAW and coaches. What do you think y'all are doing well, prioritizing the athletes?
Of course. Yeah, the athletes come first. There's some coaches who probably wish we compensated them more or supported them more. Like, unfortunately, the budget's fixed, so it is what it is. And we felt that it's most like the sport exists for the athlete, not for the coaches. If you get into coaching, I think you know what you're signing up for. You're not signing up to get rich. If you were signing up to get rich and famous, I'm sorry, just pick another line of work or pick a different sport to coach in. Weightlifting is not there. Like, I think, I was going to say when I was thinking of the sponsorships, like we need the NIL effect to occur in weightlifting. I don't know how to make people care enough about it to invest that kind of money in it, but if we could figure out a way to get people as excited about it to where you get the NIL money that's going into other sports coming into weightlifting. It'll never be like football or basketball, but just something a little similar. Then I could see there being enough money to go around where coaches start getting decent enough compensations, just livable. Like we've done a whole episode on coach pay and how low it is, So I think prioritizing the athletes, we have Mike's famous term is centralizing the decentralized system. We're a huge country. We're a country made up of probably like 25 sub countries, like culturally and regionally. If you want to think of it that way, and we all compete on the same team. So getting everybody across different time zones, different philosophies, with no like formalized structure, I think we do that pretty well. I think we do the best to work with a diversified philosophy. So I like those things. I like that we've. What I hope what you were getting at is that professionalization has occurred in some, and like professionalization comes with money. Like we can't just have demands and standards of you guys to be professionals without professionalizing you with the money. But with that becomes, hey, like let's stop treating it like the fun hobby. I mean, as much as that might suck, it could still be fun, and more like, okay, this is a job. And now it pays enough to be a job. Now if you're one of the top 3 weightlifters in the U.S., male or female, you can make $60K a year just from USA Weightlifting, not including performance incentives. I think the graphics out there, I'm not like giving private information. I think Olivia Reeves will have been compensated like $100K, over $100K in the Paris year, as she should as an Olympic champion, right? Like even to say that, if I told you an Olympic gold medal would only be worth 6 figures, that feels kind of low, right? So that's changing, but we want people to treat it like a job. And I think that I'm seeing that shift where it isn't just like, oh, I like lifting weights, so I lift weights. It's I lift weights and I do all these other things to ensure that my performance is optimized, sort of thing. And so that's hopefully the signal that we've provided.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Is like it definitely feels more professional as far as like the athlete support. And I think, not saying that they're, I think a lot of it came when it became more decentralized. Like it went, I think a big part back then was supporting like resident athletes at the training center when we had that program.
Yeah.
When that was done away with, it went to like, okay, who's the best in the country and how can we support them? And I think like that was also around the time that Mike Impiros, I think, took over as like national coaches. And so they came in with that idea. And like, I felt, having experienced both of those, I felt much more supported, like in that aspect beyond
the post residency program.
Post the
there was such a focus on only supporting that group and centralizing it into one coach, into one system. And I do think we need to do more work on all of us coaches having like a unified basic theory of things. And that's work that we continue to do. And like, it's actually like one of my big projects for this year is to like, if I wrote a manual on like what it means to do things the American way, and that every coach understood what that meant, and they still did the Wilkes way, but they could still speak Sean or what, this wouldn't be Sean, but it'd be like the USAW way, then we'd be in a really good place to work collaboratively together. And so that's my goal actually for 2026. It's going to take the whole ass year is to kind of do that and to parse out what that even means really. And it's not to say you're doing it wrong or anything, but like, this is just how we view it in this sort of way. So like, let's talk about, and you might look at something like, oh yeah, I do that, but I call it deconstruction or something like that. Yeah. That's all it means.
And that's like with strength training, Olympic weightlifting, like it has a good program has the same foundation. Yep. You might, the intensity might be different at different periods, or the volume might change, or you may do different lifts or something, but the foundations are there. Like we all work from the same principles. So I think that can work,
Yeah.
Like, and that was one thing I remember early on in like my weightlifting career was a lot of the coaches were talking about like we should have an American like system. And I think we're definitely at a point now where that is possible, because I think we're showing that there is America is a power in weightlifting, especially at last year's Worlds.
Yeah, no, it's getting better every year.
Yeah.
So I think we're ready for that. But yeah, it's a little silly when you think about it. In other countries, there's a national coach. So there's a Mike Caine in other countries, right? And they're actually doing more coaching than Mike did. Like we're performance managers, right? Yeah. Like, so it's really like this consultory kind of thing.
What do other countries do specifically that you think we should implement, or like where we fall short compared to other countries?
I mean, I'll talk.
Yeah.
So you can get your
no, go for
it. But I do think Sean probably has a lot to say about this, just with his coaching position. But they do have these like systems implemented where not everyone, but most of them are
light bulb.
Just came back.
Okay. A lot of them are more, I think, centralized, where you, like you said, you have your Mike Caine, who is kind of structuring it, but they're more of a coach than a manager, like checking in and making sure that you have what you need, sort of thing. They're actually there, like you go to a training center, you're there, you're living there, eating, training, sleeping, recovering, getting all those provided, which I think it's good for America. Like it'd be nice to have that ability again, to have a resident program. But I don't like, it won't work for everyone. Like we just have, it's a different structure in some countries because weightlifting is like the avenue to like become good in sports or whatever. Whereas we have so many opportunities that like a lot of good athletes are going to baseball, football, basketball, whatever. And weightlifting is like kind of lower on there as far as opportunity goes. Plus the people that are good at weightlifting just have like, some of us have lives, like we're married, have families or whatever. So we can't like up and
That's where my brain
leave.
goes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool. Like, I love the idea of like, oh, you're all at this training facility doing it together day in, day out. But then it's like, okay, if you go to the human level, it's like, oh, wait, what if Caine wants to live in North Carolina and wants to be with his family here? So, it's like, that's tough.
Yeah, I think having this sort of a little more decentralized method of like coaching and everything is probably better for our American culture. But I think like having that opportunity, because I think there's younger athletes that are not in their 30s and don't have like, they're not owning a home or something, like where they can uproot and go to like Colorado Springs for a 6-month period or longer if they want to. I think having that opportunity for people is good. So yeah.
Yeah. I remembered what I was going to say.
Okay.
You'll have a national team coach. You'll have a national team program. All these things are great. And so it's funny you mentioned like wanting to be home with your family. That's something Piro spoke about that was difficult.
Yeah.
He missed out on a major segment of his children's like upbringing in their childhood to commit to training for the final Olympics, essentially, because like they were already coming along. So he mentions like, oh, I was like not part of their lives. I missed a lot on it, and like we're still dealing with the ramifications of that to this day, essentially, by giving that up. But it was what was accepted at the times. Like you come, you live at the training center, you train with everybody else that's here, and it's like isolated, like intentionally isolated. And that's, so I don't know if we need to do that. I don't know if we could do that because we're such a large country to gather up everybody. But what I was getting at, I remember reading this interview. I won't be able to cite it or dig it up or anything, but it was with Russian weightlifting coaches. So Russia at one point had 7 different regional training centers because Russia's a huge country. It's across a bunch of different time zones. You had the national training center where Coach Riggert was at the time, but then each regional center has its own coach and then sub coaches, whatever you want to call it. And it's all like a pyramid system. That's what they instituted in Cuba. You just climb up the pyramid, and the higher up the level you get, you're supposed to go to the national training center eventually. But even in that room where David Riggert's in charge, there are several other coaches. And if I remember right, each coach was basically never going to take on more than 3 athletes. That's it. 3 people. Because it was considered impossible to manage more than 3 effectively. And I'll tell you, as somebody who has to like manage more than that, like not as many as a lot of other coaches, but more than that, it's really hard and really difficult. And in a capitalist system, so in this society, you have to do so much to make a living because the pay scale is what it is. In that system, there's basically state-sponsored government funding. These are all employees of the, Ministry of Sport, and they've literally gone to university. They have a degree in weightlifting. Like that's what they do, right? We don't have that, so we can't do that. But that shows that even in a centralized system, you can't just have one coach for everybody because the bandwidth isn't scalable, but even one coach won't be appropriate for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what we've solved is that you find your personal coach, the one that's going to work for you. Unfortunately, that personal coach probably also has to coach a bunch of people unless they have a real job. Honestly, it's almost better if they have a real job so they could just coach you and like one other person.
Yeah.
And like that's it. But then even their attention is divided. If they have a real job, how often are they at practice, yada, yada, all that kind of stuff. So it's just different. We're a different society, different financial opportunities. But I think that would be great. The acceptance of, hey, centralization has its benefits. Like if you go and you live at a training center, you can get massages, you can get nutrition, you can only worry about training. And if you jive with the coach there and the environment that's going on, great. If you don't, you'll have to build those opportunities on your own. But the national team program, now we fund people's lives basically so they can pay their bills and focus on training, but also provide, money, for recovery and performance expenses and things like that. So it's doing the best we can to make sure you get performance support, even though you wouldn't live in a centralized place, so you can work with your coach that jives with you, whoever that is.
I can't, like I said, I think it's a lot of like bringing in those concepts into a more decentralized, looser format, I guess. But I can't think of anything that like to improve upon. I'm sure you could like nitpick little things if you want to, but really the only thing I can think of is like lowering the B standard for the 110 plus category.
I don't know. I'll see what can be done about that. Watch, it's going to happen. And like, this is going to get
right.
Like, Sean's ready to do it.
Last thing I have, and then Sean, you can ask your question. If there was a youth or a younger lifter out there that wants to compete on the international stage, what advice would you give them?
I think like making an international stage is a lofty goal. Making the Olympics is a lofty goal. So again, I alluded to this before about like failure and stuff. Like you may not make those lofty goals that you have, but get started, because wherever you end up will be far, like you'll probably surprise yourself where you ended up. You know, I started lifting when I was 11, just goofing around with my brothers and some football players. And we had conversations about how cool it'd be to be in the Olympics. That like 25, 26 years ago, I was not thinking about like, if I keep at this for another 20 years, and I ended up making the Olympics, but I did so many things that like, if I hadn't made the Olympics, I still am a 3-time Pan American champion, which I never would have expected. Won 6 national titles, and I've been on, I think I said the number last episode, I think 7 world teams. Like I've done so many things on the way of like hitting that major goal. So I think like the main thing is like, if you want to do it, go for it. You may not like hit it, but you'll accomplish way more than you thought was possible. And you'll learn so many things along the way, about yourself, your character, build skills, all that sort of stuff, and have fun. That's what my dad always tells me.
Yep. He definitely made it fun. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, he did.
He like, anytime he's coached me, leading into my first lift, like he'll remind me, just have fun. 'Cause that goes back to your reason why. And that just, I love the sport and I enjoy the challenge and I just have fun.
Well said.
No. Caine, I didn't do any of the things you did, and it has not been worth it because of that.
Cool. Cut that.
Way to bring us down,
No, I said that in an earlier episode. Like I knew I wasn't going to the Olympics, but it has all been. I've had the best life.
It's just like
because I tried hard at one thing.
Yes, so. I had the goal of like beating Shane Hammond's records. I did not hit that, and I'm at a point in my career where I don't think I'll hit that. But
I need you to work on your mental game.
But it's definitely like I've surprised myself looking back, and I'm sure you feel that way too. Like,
yeah, I wish I could have lifted longer, and had more success. But like, just being committed to something has built this place, has built our friendship, has given me my wife, has given me my house, has given me all the things I like most in my life, from being obsessed. Making sure I would go as hard as I could, on one thing. So, yeah, it's fantastic.
Right. Sean, what was your question you had?
Final question, Caine. So, on Christmas Day, what is it that you do instead of celebrating Christmas? And follow-up question to that, why do you hate America?
okay.
Can I just you represent USA when you do international meets. Sean, who do you represent?
When I do
when you compete in weightlifting,
okay,
what country do you represent?
The Republic of Ireland.
So why do you hate America?
I celebrate Christmas, which
I'm back on your side.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say right
Especially since Jesus is the reason for the season.
Yeah.
If Jesus is the reason.
And Jesus was a proud patriot.
Wait, what?
Okay. To answer the first part of your question.
Yep.
I do not celebrate Christmas.
Okay.
I do not celebrate anything around this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Not even New Year?
I do recognize that there is a New Year.
Okay, you recognize it.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, how do you celebrate New Year's? Like, you just watch the ball drop or something, or
No. You go have a nice dinner.
Black Eyed Peas.
Nope. You
That's
go
on
to
New Year's Day.
New Year's Day. New Year's
Okay.
Eve, you go to a pub.
Mm-hmm.
You have some Irish, English foods.
What if you go over to a friend's house and you play like board games?
Yeah, it's great.
That's fine.
Okay,
That's perfectly
that's what
fine.
we did New Year's Eve.
Did you have some champagne?
No, we left before midnight.
Well, so did I.
So did we.
Okay.
I was in bed by 10 o'clock.
It's fantastic.
It was amazing. Just like Christmas and Jesus' birthday, you can choose when you celebrate New Year's Eve.
So yeah, why do you hate America then?
I don't hate America.
Oh, well, if you don't celebrate Christmas and don't love the reason for the season, I don't know how to tell you. That's just what I've been told. Do you remember when like they were in an uproar about they were gonna not do the holiday cups at Starbucks at one point? And they were like, "Ah!" Like people losing their shit. It's like unbelievable. We're boycotting Starbucks because they're not going to do the Christmas cups or whatever. They were going to try some other color or
I
something.
wouldn't boycott, but I'd be upset.
I mean, I want it because I love the Christmas season, but they're boycotting it because they thought Starbucks is anti-Christianity and hates religion by like doing something different. And that is not Christ's birthday. It's not even probably close to Christ's likely birthday, so it doesn't matter.
December 25th?
Yes. It is just
Correct.
proximal to Yule, which is a pagan date that Christianity co-opted because everybody's already celebrating it. And it's like, oh, yeah, he's born on that. So he's not actually the reason for the season. The holidays don't matter. Like Christmas is great. I'm pro-Christmas. Right? Love the flavors, love the colors, love the lights. Don't love the consumerism maybe, but everything else. But it's not about Jesus. Like, let's just be clear.
Yeah,
right, Caine?
Yeah, it's not. Like,
you would know.
Well, okay. As a serious answer, I do like the way I am a Christian, the way I like
the way that Jews are Christians.
The way
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Is everyone tuned out? No one's watching this.
Doesn't matter what you're talking about.
But I don't do holidays. I observe the holy days that are done in the Old Testament. That
The Jewish
is
holidays.
Usually
They usually have a
related
like a
to
Hebrew name that
Judaism.
you translate into English. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, we don't do. I'm so lost right now.
It's okay.
But I don't even know what I'm explaining to you. But I do those holy days. I don't do holidays like Christmas or Easter, because those aren't necessarily commanded in the Bible as holy days.
You don't celebrate
I try to
the
do,
rise of Christ.
I try to do. Oh, I do.
He
But
is-
I do
he is-
Passover.
In that few days before.
It's around the same time.
Okay. right.
It's off of the Hebrew calendar, so that day jumps a little. But it's
Okay.
usually around Easter time.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't do Christmas, just because it's not really commanded in the Bible. I do think there are some pagan origins to it,
Yep.
which also kind of like not a fan of. But
Not a fan of the pagan origins, or
yeah,
okay.
wait, what?
Yeah, that's fine.
And then, yeah, I also don't think Jesus was born on December 25th. I don't have it prepared right now, but I think if you did a little research, it's, you'll probably find it around in the fall sometime.
It's weird that
September
you weren't prepared
or
for this, but
October.
so I'm moving. I would like
This is a weightlifting podcast, right?
Yeah,
It was.
We can
And
keep,
high rocks.
We
We
can
can
keep
talk high
calling
rocks.
it Christmas. I guess like you do that because it's Christ. You know, all that kind of, like I don't really care. But I'm moving. I want a return to Yule, a return to the pagan celebration of Christmas, Yule. At that time, I want that. I want the 12 days of Christmas. That's what I want it all to be from now on going forward. That's what I'm going to celebrate. That isn't like anti-Christianity, and I'm going to acknowledge that this holiday has nothing to do, as you are saying, has nothing to do with Christ actually, because it doesn't. It's just been
Do we get 12 days
remarketed.
off?
yes in my system. Yes,
I'm sold.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
pretty great religion.
Sign me up.
I'm not quite God of your own planet like the Mormons,
Yeah.
but I'm getting you 12 days off.
So since Caine doesn't celebrate, he can work on Christmas Day.
Well, yeah, he's not celebrating my pagan system.
Right.
He
So
can work.
Next year you will.
Yeah. We'll all be off.
Hold the phone.
We'll
Hold
all
the
be off for
phone.
12 days. You will be at work.
You work. Yeah, you have to work every day.
Look, I'll be honest with you. I probably will not celebrate all 12 days, but I do like having a day off with my wife, who also gets that day off. So,
The one day of the year that she gets off.
yes, that's another topic. But
Do you want 12 days off or not, Caine?
I mean,
What kind of
I did get 12
you
days
guys?
off
Yeah,
of
you
my
guys
other
get a,
job.
you guys get a month off in your system. Your system's pretty good.
Oh, good.
Like if you did feast properly, wouldn't it be like a month?
Yeah, it's not a unless you recognize like Jubilee years or something. We don't really get that involved with it, but
But if you did it proper,
the feast is like
Ramadan.
8 days.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's only 8 days. All right. Well, we could wrap it there. Caine, anti-Christmas,
Wait, can I get one? I promise this is the last thing.
anti-America.
Last thing. Since
Yeah.
you're both here together,
This is
Yeah.
wild.
fall 2026 is the relay team. Here's half of it. Are y'all still feeling confident and strong?
I mean, it depends on whether it conflicts with the most important meet of the year or not. But yeah, I feel pretty good.
States?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're training for the state championships.
Yep.
Yeah.
But after that, so in fall, after states, so November, see you in
Okay. Yeah.
Boston
Yeah. Boston?
or Chicago.
Thought it was Chicago.
Where do you want to go? Where
Are
would
they
you
the
rather?
same? Are they around the same time?
They're
I'd like,
both-
to, I'd like to see Mike Catone.
Yeah.
he can come watch.
If I was to do a High Rocks, I would do it in Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do Chicago.
Okay.
Cool. Bye, everybody. Thank
Bye,
you.
Bye, Caine.
Bye, Sean.